Well, this morning we had a large direct that was all focused around Animal Crossing New Horizons. It was just over 25 minutes and it showed off quite a bit. Actually, it showed off, I think, a bit more than I was even expecting. And I'm actually pretty happy with that because looking at it, you know what? I think this is going to be a pretty good game. And I will admit I'm a bit more interested now than I thought I would be leading up to it, as it's out the same day as Doom Eternal. I think I'm still going to be loading up Doom Eternal first, but there is a very, very good chance that after a couple hours of Doom Eternal, maybe I want to calm down a bit, relax, and I'll turn on Animal Crossing New Horizons and get that started. And after this direct and what they have shown us, yeah, I'm going to be spending quite a bit of time in this game. A little bit of history with me and Animal Crossing. The last time I really spent a lot of time with an Animal Crossing game was on the GameCube. Yeah, it's been a bit. Now, look, I did also play on the Wii. I played that one because at the time, everyone had a Wii. So Animal Crossing came out, and I figured, well, I'll just go ahead and grab it. But on the DS, didn't really get into that one. I played New Leaf a bit, and I thought that one was pretty good. And now I'm looking at New Horizons, and this legitimately looks like an evolution of Animal Crossing, like the next big step for the series. This looks like there is a lot. Like, I understand why this thing was over 25 minutes long, because even that, it feels like they compressed a lot of it just to fit it into that time slot. There was an overwhelming amount of information in this direct. So while I'm mostly going on the GameCube version of Animal Crossing, I have played a little bit outside of that, but definitely the GameCube is where I spent a ton of my time. It was really cool because then, around then, the early 2000s, we were still, I think it was around this time, we were still really into like the whole Sims craze, because that came out a bit earlier, a few years earlier on the PC, and I remember it was crazy when it came to The Sims. It was like this new mind-blowing idea, and Animal Crossing came along and it was a bit more simplified than The Sims. Like, you didn't have to make sure that your character was eating or using the bathroom or sleeping and all of that. No, but you were still basically living a life in a fantasy world with creatures that could talk, and it was more about paying off a mortgage, designing your home, and maintaining a community around you, which you really think about that and you say, that doesn't sound like a fun game, but it was. It was also a very relaxing game, which was a bit different than a lot of the stuff at the time with some controller gripping platformers and shooters and action games. It definitely stood out. So, ton of experience with the GameCube version, a little bit with the Wii, none with the DS, actually an okay amount with New Leaf. And, well, you know what? Tell you what, I'll make sure we get the System Seller Amiibo Festival at some point. I'll stop by Five Below. I'm sure they have like 30 of them on the shelf. And I think tomorrow in Newswave, I'll do more of a breakdown of the press release they sent out. And the press release is quite long. There is just a ton of information here. But when I first saw the game, I really like the look of it, and the more they've shown here with a lot of stuff on screen, and that was something I was like, okay, if a lot of stuff is there, we'll be slow down and everything. No, it looks very smooth. I love the way it looks because it keeps kind of the simplified look of Animal Crossing, which if you go back again to the GameCube, which I did start it up again today to check it out, it is very simplistic. Again, I know it was a Nintendo 64 game that was ported, but I've never really looked at Animal Crossing and thought, wow, this is a great looking game. I just haven't. It's always looked very simple, and I think that's fine with the idea of the game being a relaxing, simplified game. But I look at New Horizons, and I have to say, this is an extremely good-looking game. It keeps kind of the simplistic feel and nature of the visuals, but it adds in a ton of little touches that make it more complex, whether it is like the trees kind of swaying with the leaves and all of that on there. You do see when it was snowing, they had different individual snowflakes that appeared to have almost their own paths when they would come down, and they even had clouds that would move above you and you'd see the shadows, and just everything looks really, really spot on. I'm very excited just to walk around and see the game. It sounds weird, but this being more of a serene type game, I think they nailed it with the environments and everything around you, and they even showed different seasons and all of that was on point. It just looks like a game where you want to jump in and just kind of just be in the game. Another point that I really like that they kept emphasizing so far with the Direct, again, I have to play it and see if it all turns out the way I'm hoping it is with how they're describing it. You start out with like nothing, right? You start with a tent. You got to go pick where you want your tent to be. You set it up, and from there you work to build your island. They also showed that you get to pick an island of a couple that are already pre-set up, and that was something that would happen in even the GameCube version that I remember. You wouldn't get to pick, but whenever you started a new town, everything was kind of moved around, but it was very basic and simplistic in like, oh, Tom Nook's shop is at the top left in your town. That's kind of weird. He's in like the on the far right in my town, right? Stuff like that. Oh, your houses are dead center. Oh, mine are off to the left, right? That was kind of how it was, and it would be randomly generated from what I could tell whenever you started a new file on the original Animal Crossing on the GameCube. This looks like they will present some options that specifically seem to point out landmarks, which from what I could tell was mostly like where all the water sources and rivers would be and different land masses. And then you say, okay, I want that one, and then you pick it and you go. And it seems like you get to start with just your tent, you set it up, and from there you actually work to build up the island. You have so many different other residents and neighbors and all of that on there that I assume you're going to create bonds with, much like you did with on the GameCube and others, where you would create friendships with them and they would give you different things. Sometimes, from what I could tell, that was like the only way to get certain cosmetics or designs or even furniture. They would just give you the stuff, and it was pretty cool back then to do that, and it looks like they were really leaning into it here. Customization, as we would all expect, is going to be massive in Animal Crossing New Horizons. They showed off a ton of stuff when it came to that, and they showed off, from what I could tell, again, not as familiar with some of the Animal Crossing games, but more quality of life additions, where you were actually able to just move around furniture without having to push it. Listen, we had to take the leaf out of our pocket, throw it on the ground, it would explode into a couch, and then we'd have to push and rotate the couch with our character. It looked like you were literally just picking up the couch with a cursor and dropping it where you wanted to cut down the amount of time that it would take to basically move the stuff around. And I did like that. I appreciate that. It looked like you could drag and kind of pick multiple things on a wall and just move it around. And of course, as Tom Nook does, wants you to extend your house, to create larger houses, to add rooms, and that was something that we all know. Tom Nook likes to keep you on the hook for a loan, right? And that was the end game. People always ask what was the goal in Animal Crossing. It was to get the biggest house, this is back then, and have it all paid off, which is what most people strive to do in real life. It's so strange if you think about what Animal Crossing really is, because it doesn't sound like a game. But it was great. They showed several different doorways. You go through different rooms, and it does feel like you're making progress as you go along. They talked about how as you build up your town and even invite new people to join your town, whether they're just touring their tourists, or I guess you go to other islands and you ask them to come back, you will get different landmarks and different buildings. They showed a museum that looked pretty neat. I assume as you collect fossils, you will donate them to the museum and they'll get new attractions and things like that. They also showed the large shop that Tom Nook will have that I guess will only have things that you can't get or can't craft, which was another big thing that they mentioned here. Like I said, a lot of stuff to kind of take in from this, and that's good. That's a good thing. If there is a lot of stuff to this game, which I expect there to be, it's going to keep people busy for, I mean, probably I would say the rest of the Switch's life and then some. And then on top of that, they are going to have updates, and that I think that's good to have updates as you go along, because the game is going to sell well. We already know that, and in order to increase sales as you go along and keep it as an evergreen title, you do free updates, and they're going to be doing them seemingly to go along with the themes. They said that the first update will be their day one, which we all expect an update day one on a lot of these games anyway. So I'm not surprised to hear that, but they did say part of it will be that they will add an event, Bunny Day. So basically you'll go around, I guess, collect eggs. Maybe they'll have different patterns and things that you can put on your shirts and all of that that you get from these events. And as the seasons change, they will add different things. I'm sure they'll do like a big holiday theme. They might do something with Thanksgiving. And there's a lot of stuff they can do with these updates. And it's something else to kind of keep you checking back in. Tom Nook apparently will even take the stage with his his microphone every day to tell you about new things happening and what you should be doing, I guess, to advance the overall town. I guess the last thing I want to touch on here, again, we're going to do all of the basically the facts and additions and stuff in Newswave tomorrow. The other thing I really wanted to point out is, of course, they glossed over cloud saves very rapidly. They said, no cloud saves, we're not doing that, but we're going to have something planned. There was some very small writing, and again, we'll go over that tomorrow in Newswave, but it doesn't look great, I guess, for backing up your island or even transferring it to a new Switch. Maybe you get that Coral one. Well, it's hold off on Animal Crossing until then, I guess. That's the best thing I can say right now. But multiplayer looks, I think, pretty cool. They have up to 8 people that can go to an island, and from there you can pick who can and can't basically destroy your island. You have a best friends list that you will add people to, and if they are on your best friends list, they can cut down trees, they can dig holes, they can move stuff, they do all of this stuff, right, that would normally allow strangers or random people to destroy all of your hard work in your town. I mean, Nintendo knows you can't really trust every single person that joins your game, so you basically have to wall them off to where they are just viewers and they can see and interact in a way that won't just completely destroy hours and hours of work. I'm definitely not a fan that they wanted to include the mobile app here to use voice chat, because I feel like most people who are going to be inviting their friends into their Animal Crossing game, I mean, I don't see Animal Crossing as a game that you are going to invite random people in necessarily. I get they had the best friends list, but like I feel most people who are doing Animal Crossing multiplayer are just looking to do it with their friends. So I don't really know why they wouldn't look to just do regular system voice chat. I mean, the one thing I do remember about the Wii version of Animal Crossing is how they showcase their Wii Speak, where you put the microphone on top of your TV and you just yelled at your TV to talk to people. I don't know why they are making people use that mobile app again for this. I thought they were almost moving away from it, but here we are now. Yes, you do need the mobile phone app to talk to people, or I guess you just use Discord or anything else, or you pick up your phone and I guess you call them. I don't know, but most people I think will use Discord. Again, I believe Animal Crossing is going to be mostly played online with just friends anyway. I will say, I think using the app, the phone app, to import designs through those QR codes is a great idea. The thing with the mobile app, I don't think it as an app, a companion app, is a bad thing. I think voice chat through it, or being forced to do voice chat through it, is, but I see uses for these companion apps, and a lot of games and services and even systems have had companion apps for different things. I like this. I like the idea of being able to transfer stuff from the 3DS games, for example. They pointed out New Leaf even specifically, and you take a picture of a QR code for a design that you would do in that game, or you have done, and then you can move it over using the mobile app. That's a great idea. I like that a lot. The voice chat, like I said, not a fan of, but things like that are really, really cool, and they could even update more and more things through the mobile app. So those are neat ideas. The voice chat, not as much. And there's just a ton of other stuff. There's Nook Miles. There's your Nook phone that I didn't even go over that will update with apps as you go along in the game itself. The Nook Miles appear to be something kind of tied to goals, or I guess you could even say quests on the island that will unlock even more stuff. There's a lot of things going on in this game, and I am excited to check it out. It's coming out in 1 month, actually a little less than 1 month, because we're in February, so there's 29 days. But basically, a month from now, Animal Crossing will release, and I think it's gonna be very exciting. I think it'll sell well, and I'm looking forward to diving back into Animal Crossing fully, I'll say, because the GameCube was the last time I was that invested, and looking at what I'm seeing here, I think this is going to be it. Now, I do know Final Fantasy Remake is out weeks after this, but this should give me enough time to play through Doom and then play quite a bit of Animal Crossing before I inevitably have to fall to Final Fantasy VII Remake and blast through that one. But let me know what you guys thought about the Direct earlier this morning with Animal Crossing New Horizons, and if you're sold on it, or if anything puts you off, or if you're an older Animal Crossing fan like myself who played it on the GameCube and then kind of fell out of it. Let me know how mind-blowing it is, because like going from the GameCube game to this is absolutely mind-blowing. But let me know what you think about all of that, guys, down below. Make sure you like the video on the way out if you enjoyed it. Dislike it if not. I'll see you guys next time.